Good morning. Yesterday we left before this. I remember why not to use DBMS. So now today we start with just revision of what the database system concepts and the architecture. So what is data model? Data model, a set of concepts to describe the structure of the database and certain constraints that the database should do it. So what are the concepts we are using? Suppose if you are doing in your first program some concept. So what is that concept and how should be your data structure? How should be your tables? How many in that database? How many tables should be there? What should be the structure? How many columns should be there? What is the restriction given for each column? What is the data type? Everything we consider. So then that is what is called as a data model. So then what are the operations we do on data model? So the operation for specifying database retrieval and update by verifying to the concept of data model. So now suppose you think that if I say we are creating a university database. So then I should develop a model in such a way that it satisfies the university. Then I cannot say that instead of creating a university model, if I start creating a business model, then there, it is not right. So that's what here, whenever we are trying to develop any model, so that model should be there. So then operation on the data model. So what are the operations we do on the data model? Basic operations what we do and user defined operation. So the basic operations what we do: create, insert, delete, update, select. So all those are the basic operation. And user defined operations, we may say that for one column I want to calculate the sum. For another column I want to count. I want to calculate the count, how many people are there. So like this we can use. So those are the user defined operations. So then what are the categories we do about a data model? So we are divided into three categories. One is conceptual or a high level or a semantic. Next one is a low level or internal. And the last one is a implementation or a representation. So what is this conceptual or high level or a semantic? So data model provide concepts that are close to the way you user perceive data, also called as a entity based or object based data model. So then we call it as a conceptual. Then what is physical or low level or internal? Data models provide concepts that describe details of how data is stored in the computer. Then implementation, data models provide concepts that fall between the above two, balancing user view with some computer storage. So then let us see some more how was this data models developed and in which year they started and what was the concept they have used in that data model. In the early 1970s, it was a model called as a relational model developed by a person called as a EEF Code. He was working for a company called as IBM, and his first commercial system was in 1981 and 82. And those models, the same relational model concept was being used by some of the tools like DB2, Oracle, SQL Server, Sybase, Informix. All these tools were using a relational model concept. Then next we have, before this, there was a model called as a network model. So this took by implemented by a Honeywell in the year 64 and 65, and it was a IDS system and adopted heavily due to the support of Codacil. So there were different companies where they have started developing this. Later, this IDS was being modified, and it was called as a IDMS, and it was in the year 1971. And there were some more models which were using network model, and different companies were manufacturing it. So like DMS 1100, it was developed by a company called as a Unisys. So in the same way, Image was developed by a HP. So in the same way, DBMS was developed by a Digital Equipment Corporation. So there were some companies who developed tools using a concept called as a network model. Before this, they were using a hierarchical data model. So what in the hierarchical data model implemented in a joint effort by IBM and North American Rockwell around 1965 resulted in IMS family of systems. The most popular model other system based on this model, System 2K. So this was a Saskin developed company was a Saskin, and who developed hierarchical data model, and the model, the tool was named as a System 2K. Before this, we were having something called as an object-oriented data model. Several models have been proposed for implementing in a database system. One set comprises models of persistence, that is OO, object-oriented programming languages such as C++. It may what will be done in a C++ is everything will be stored in a form of object store or versatility and a small term. Example in Gemstone. Additionally, systems like O2 or at MCC, then it acts. So these were the object-oriented data models they were using. And one more thing, IRIS was used by HP, and even this was used for an open OOD database. Before this, after this, we have something called as a object relational model. So most recent trend started with Informix Universal Server, exemplified in the latest version of Oracle 10i. So you can see Oracle is releasing so many versions. So before it was some other version, and Oracle 10i was the version which was at least not recent one, it is bit older one. So like this, Oracle will be releasing so many versions. So that's the reason Oracle 10i. Then DB2 and SQL Server, etc. The systems were being called like that. So in the same way, hierarchical model, what are the advantages of hierarchical model and what was the disadvantage of hierarchical model? Hierarchical model is simple to construct and operate on corresponding to a number of natural hierarchical organized domains. Languages like language is simple, uses constructs like get unique, get next within the parent. So then what is the disadvantage of having a hierarchical model? So navigational and procedural nature of the processing. Database is visualized as a linear arrangement of records. Little scope for query optimization. Then what is network model? So advantages of network model. Network model is able to model complex relations and represent semantics of add and delete to the relationship. Can handle most situations for modeling using record type and relationship type. And the language is navigational, uses constructs like find member, find owner, find next within set. So get, etc. Programmer can do optimal navigation through the database. And what was the disadvantage of this network model was, so navigation and procedural nature of the processing was a bit difficult, and the database contains a complex array of pointers that thread through a set of records, little scope for automated and query optimization. So then what is the schemas versus instances? Database schema, the description of a database include description of database structure and constraints that should hold on the database. Then schema diagram, diagrammatic representation or diagrammatic display of your database is called as a database schema. Then what is database construct? A component of schema or an object within the schema. Example, we can say student or course. So in that complete thing, we are creating small things, then those are called as a schema construct. Then what is database instance? So the actual data stored in the database as a particular moment in the time, also called as a database state or occurrence. So we can see how the database schema diagram and database are different. So you can see here this side, these are the schema diagrams for student, course, prerequisite, section and grade report. Whereas this side you can see for the same tables, it is being filled with some data. So then that is what is called as an instance. In the same way, how do we differentiate the database schema versus the database state? So database state refers to the content of a database at a moment in the time. So initially, database state refers to the database when it is loaded. So valid state, when do we say it is a valid state? A state that satisfies the structure and constraints of the database. So now what is this valid state? When do we say like that? So suppose you think that you can take your phone number. So if I in your phone number place, if I start entering a character, it should not accept. It should only accept a numeric. So then we say it is a valid state. In the same way, distinct. The database schema changes very infrequently. The database state changes every time the database is updated. Schema is also called as an intention, whereas state is called extension. So distinction, the database schema changes very infrequently. The database state changes every time the database is updated. Schema is also called intention, whereas state is called as an extension. So the three schema architecture proposed to support DBMS characteristics of program data independence, support of multiple view of the data. So then this is what the three schema architecture says to us. So how the external level, how the end user is using, what is the intermediate, what is a conceptual schema, and what is internal schema. So in the internal schema, you can see stored database. So before that, we have the external schema. So then that is what is called as a end user, or we can say external or conceptual mapping. Then conceptual level, we'll say that conceptual or internal mapping. So this is what three schema architecture says to us. But let us see what the three schema architecture in all the three levels it says. So defining DBMS schema at three levels. So internal schema at the internal level to describe physical storage structure and access path typically uses a physical data model. So conceptual schema at the conceptual level to describe the structure and the constraints for the whole database for a community of users, uses a conceptual or an implementation data model. So external schema at the external level to describe the various user views, usually uses the same data model as the conceptual level. So this is what the three schema architecture says to us. So then the three schema architecture, so mappings. Among schema levels are needed to transform the request and data. Programs refers to an external schema and are mapped by the DBMS to the internal schema for execution. So we can see how the components of the component module of database and their interaction. The component module of the DBMS and their interaction, you can see how are the components. So we have a DBMS staff or a user. So now we know that we have so many commands. So what is DDL stands for? Data Definition Language Statement. So if I want to do it, then I require a DDL compiler. So then this is stored in a dictionary called as a data dictionary or system catalog or data dictionary. Then privileged commands. So in this case, you can see how the privileges are being working. Then casual user, interactive query, query compiler, query optimizer. So then the same way application program, pre-compiler and DML compiler. Then the host language compiler and compile transaction. So that's what the parametric users will be using. Then runtime database processor, whenever we want some queries to be fetched. So then that is what the runtime environment will be done. So then concurrency control or backup or recovery subsystem or stored data manager. So what we do here, you can see all these are different components which are required for a DBMS for the interaction. So now what we have done, we have just installed SQL, but we don't know how is it, what are the different components are available within that, and what are the people who can use it. So that's what the description is given here. So next we move on to a data independency. So what is data independency? Logical data independency and physical data independency. So now how the classes are being conducted. So we are not stopping. Maybe we took some 1 week gap, but again we started back even in the last semester only taking the classes virtually. So what is that? Same way here we have something called as a logical. Logical means which is not actually there, but still it is a logical data independency. The capacity to change the conceptual schema without having to change the external schema and their application program. So that is what is called as a logical data independence. In the physical data independence, something like you people before last March, you people were coming to the college and you are physically sitting in the classes and we were taking the classes. So the same way here, the physical data independency, the capacity to change the internal schema without having to change the conceptual schema. So then when a schema at a lower level is changed, only the mapping between this schema and higher level schema need to be changed in a DBMS that fully support data independence. The higher level schema themselves are unchanged. Hence, the application program need to be changed since they refer to the external schema. So then let's so now I'm communicating you people with some language. What is the language I'm using? Where there are heterogeneous students. There may be some people from a north of India where they know only Hindi, and some may be from Gujarat, some may be from Rajasthan, some may be from some other state. So then I don't know the mother tongue of all those languages. So in the same way, even in South also, there may be some students from Karnataka, from Andhra, from Tamil Nadu, even from Kerala. Then what language commonly I should use so that everyone can understand? We are using the English language so that anybody can understand what I am speaking. Same way here in DBMS language also, in database management system also, there are some languages where each one will be doing its work. So in the same way, DBMS has an appropriate language and infers to express database query and updates. And database language can be used to read, store, and update the data in the database. Then what is DML language? So in the DML language, we have a types of database language, that is DDL, DCL, DML, and DCL. We'll see each one of them. So what is DDL? DDL is a data definition language. So we define our database. How should be my data bit? What should be my column name? What is the data type I am storing? What is the primary key I should give? So those details you are giving in a data definition language. So after that, we have something called as a data control language. So now what should be present? What is the time to fetch me back? What data is there in the database and display on the SQL software in the front end tool. This control is someone has to be done controlling. So that will be done by a data control language. And we have one more thing called as a DML. What is this DML? DML is something like a data manipulation language. So now you have created your database and tomorrow you want to manipulate. So I want, now you are in third semester, maybe next in fourth semester, we have to change your subjects. So then what, I cannot use the same table. I can only use your USN and name even for the fourth semester, but I cannot use the same subject. Then what I have to do, I have to manipulate them. So in that case, data manipulation language is required. In the same way, next is transaction control language. So now you will be knowing there is something called as a eligibility. What is that eligibility? If first semester and second semester, if you clear all the subjects, then only you can go for the third semester. So then what is that? That is a controlling, so that everyone should clear off the same subjects in the same year, same semester. So that's what here, even to do all the database operations, we require a transaction control language. Okay, so that's what the description of each of them, what I have told. Data definition language is used by a DBA and database designer to specify the conceptual schema of the database. In many DBMS, the DDL is also used to define internal and external schemas. In some DBMS, a separate storage definition language, SDL, and view definition languages are used. In some tools, when they combine, then they use the recent languages they would have combined. But in the older version, they kept separately what is SDL and what is VDL. SDL is something like storing data definition language, how the data is stored in the database, whether it is stored in main memory, whether it is stored in secondary memory. So that's what we see here in a storage definition language. In the same way, view. So now if you are using ATM card, you can view only your account. Then the bank people can view complete database. So that's what the view definition also we have to specify. So that's what you can see. What is data definition language stands for data definition. DDL stands for data definition. It is used for database structure or pattern. It is used to create schema, tables, index constructs in the database. Using DDL statement, you can create the skeleton of the database. Data definition language is used to store the information of a metadata like number of tables, schemas, their names, index, columns in each table, constraints. Then what are the commands we use in a DDL? We use a create, alter, drop, truncate, rename, and comment. So what is create? Creating your object in the database. What is alter? So today you have created one column as USN. Initially we would have created as a roll number, but now after at the end of your first semester we want to change that to USN. Then what option we have? We use a alter command. So that then drop command. I don't want that table to be exist. I want to delete that. So then we use a drop command to drop the syntax of your table. So then truncate, remove all records from the table. So the rename, sometimes I may rename, that's what your third semester, next you move on to fourth semester. Then I have to rename third to fourth. So that's how we use a rename. Then comment, we used, it is used to comment on a data dictionary. So that's what we have seen. Next is DML language. So that's what here the DML language is used to access and manipulate data in the database. It handles user request. Here are some tasks that common under DML. So we have something called as a select, insert, update, delete, and merge. Explaining plain and log table. These are the commands which we are using in a DML. What is select? I want to retrieve some data from your table. Then I use a select. Then I want to insert some table into some values into the table. Then we use a insert. Then I want to update your phone number. Initially I was not knowing, so I have not entered. Then now I want to update. Then I use a update. Then what is delete? I want to delete your values. So then we use a delete command. Then we use something called as a merge. So today I want to combine both the sections. So then we use a merge. So then explain plain, it is a parameter of explaining the data. Then log table, it is a controlling a concurrency. Okay, so that's what here in a DML language we have high level language and a low level language. So then what is control language? So control language, so someone should control, like your parents controls you not to move out now, at least because of COVID-19. Same way here, even in a DML language, we have something called as a data control language. What it is doing, it is used to retrieve the stored or saved data. The DCL execution is transactional. It also has rollback parameter. But in Oracle database, the execution of data control language does not have the features of rolling back. Here are some tasks that come under DCL. So then grant and revoke. What is grant? It is used to it is used to give user access privilege to a database. Revoke, it is used to take back permissions from the user. Then you can use the following authorization, that is connect. So I will say that in the same way your mobile data also. So you can disconnect for some time when you, suppose if you are sleeping, you don't want any messages because you'll get a sound. So you may off that. So that's what a connect. Then insert, you can insert a values into the thing. Then usage, execute, delete, update, and select. These are some of the commands which we use in a control, data control thing. And the last one is a transaction control language. So in the TCL stands for transaction control language. It is used to run the changes made by a DML statements. So TCL can be grouped into logical transaction. So that's what some was having a doubt. They have executed program, but because of power failure, whatever they have executed is not set. That's the reason you have to use a command called as a commit. So what the commit will be doing, it is used to save the transaction on the database. So that's what, if you want to save your all data from not losing, then you have to use a command called as a commit. So suppose you think that you are executing and you have entered a wrong values into the database. So before that you have done commit. after commit you inserted one more row into your table, but that is not correct one. That is wrong. Instead of doing, you can use a rollback. So I want to roll back, go back means I don't want insert to do. So then you can use a rollback. So what are the interfaces we have? We have so many interfaces. So now I am able to see, I am do everything, then I may use one interface I can use. But whereas if someone is not able to see, if someone is a blind, so then how, what should be the interface for them? Blind means they'll be having their own different interface. So that's what different interfaces we have with respect to DBMS. Standalone query language interface, or we may have something called as a programmer interface for embedding DML in a programming language. Pre-compiled approach, then procedure as subroutine call approach, or user friendly interface, menu based, popular for browsing on the web, form based, designed for an AV user, graphic based, point and click, drag and drop. So the natural language, request in written language, and combination of the above. So this is what is a DMS forms. So other DMS interfaces, speech as an input and output, web browser as an interface, parametric interface, bank tellers, using function keys. So then interface for DBA, granting account, creating account, granting authorization, setting system parameters, changing schema or access path. Okay. Then what is database system utilities? To perform certain functions such as load, backing up, reorganizing, report generation, performance monitoring. So loading data stored in files into a database includes data conversion tools, backing up the database periodically on tap, reorganizing the database files, report generation utilities, performance monitoring, other functions such as sorting, using user monitoring, and data compression, etc. So what are the other tools available? We have a repository. So then we have a repository used to store schema, description, and other information such as design, decision, application program description, user information, usage standards, etc. Then active data dictionary is accessed by a DBMS software and user or DBA. Passive data dictionary is accessed by user or DBA only. Application development environment and case, computer aided software engineering tool, example, Power Builder, that is Sybase, Builder, Borland. So then centralized and client server architecture. So centralized is what everything you keep in one place. Then we call it as a centralized database management system. Combines everything into a single system, includes a DBMS software, hardware, application programs, and user interface processing software. So then basic client server architecture, specialized servers with specialized functions, clients, DBMS server, a specialized server with a specialized function, file server, print server, web server, and email server. Each one of them is used for do its own work. So now I want to transfer my files to your email IDs. Then we use a file server. Suppose if I want to print something, then we use a print server. I want to browse something in the internet. I want to know what the DBMS is. So then I use a web server. Then I want to send emails, then we use a email just for communication. Whereas in file server, we attach a file and send. That is what a file server, and that's what a email. Email means just writing some text into the thing and sending back. Whereas in file server, we are attaching and sending. In a client, provide appropriate interface and a client version of the system to access and utilize the server resources. Client may be diskless machines on PCs or workstation with disk with only the client software installed, connected to the server via some form of network. So then local area network, wireless area network, etc. Then what is DBMS server? Provides database query and transaction service to the client, sometimes called a query and a transaction server. Two-tier client server architecture, user interface programs and application programs run on the client side. Then interface, ODBC. What is this? ODBC stands for Open Database Connectivity. If I want a connection to be done from front end and back end, then we use a ODBC connectivity. Allows a client side program to call the DBMS. Most DBMS vendors provide a ODBC drivers. So whenever you are purchasing, let's say Oracle, you would have installed almost the database connectivity will almost done for you. So then we have a two-tier client server architecture. A client program may connect to the server DBMS. Other variations of the client are possible. Example, some DBMS more functionalities transferred to clients, including data dictionary function, optimization and recovery across multiple servers. In such situation, the server may be called a data server. Then what is three-tier client server architecture? Common for web application. Intermediate layer called application server or web server stores the web connectivity software and the rules and business logic constraints part of the application used to access the right amount of data from the database server. Acts like a conduct for sending partially processed data between a database server and the client. So additional features for this is security. So encrypt the data at the server before transmission and decrypt at the client side. So the classification of database, so it may be based on the data model. You can have a traditional and emerging. So what is traditional? We may have a relational, network and hierarchical. These are the things which we have already seen. What was advantage, what was a disadvantage of all the things. Then what is recent ones? We have recent ones as object oriented and object relational. So again, how do we further classify? We have a single user or a multi-user. So single user means what? Only one people using or one particular company using. So multi-user means many companies are using. Something like that is called as a single user. Typically used with the microcomputers versus a multi-user, most of the databases. So single user, only one person or one company is using. Multi-user, many companies are using. So centralized versus distributed. Centralized means keep everything in one place. Advantage is you can keep track everything because it is in one place. But the disadvantage of this is in case if only that system goes out, then how about data? Everything is there. So then that's a disadvantage of centralized. Distributed means keep the same copy in one or two places so that if one goes wrong, you can use with the other. That's what uses multiple computer and multiple database. Then what is the classification of the DBMS? Distributed database system have now common to know to be known as a client server based database system because they do not support a total distributed environment, but rather a set of database servers supporting a system of clients. Then we have a homogeneous and heterogeneous and multi-database. Homo means what? Same. Hetero means different. Multi-database, there may be one times for my project, half of my project I may use SQL, Oracle, and half of my project I'll be using MySQL. So that's what is a multi-database. And let us see one example with the company database. So how the company database is working. What is the requirement for a company? Oversimplified for a illustrative purpose. The company is organized into departments. Each department has a name, number, and an employee who manages the department. We keep track of the start date of the department manager. Each department controls a number of projects. Each project has a name, number, and is located at a single location. So we store each employee social security number, address, salary, sex, birth date. Each employee works for one department, but may work on several projects. We can keep track of number of hours per week that an employee currently working on each project. We also keep track of the direct supervisor of each employee. Each employee may have a number of dependents. For each dependent, we keep track of their name, sex, birth date, and relationship to the employee. Next, we move on ER model concept. So this concept is very important because you can see not only for your internals, even in your final exam, definitely one ER diagram will be there. So entity and attributes. What is entity? Entity are specific objects or things in the mini world that are represented in the database. For example, employee John Smith and research department and product X. So attributes are used to describe an entity. For example, employee is an entity. What is a name? What is the social security of that person? What is the address? What's the sex? What is the birth date? So this describes an attribute. So let us take one small example. A specified entity will have a value for each of its attribute. For example, name is a John Smith. SSN is some SSN number. Address 731. So address will be so much. Then male or female, that's what is sex. Birth date, which year you are born. So these are the values which we are giving for attributes. So again, in attributes also, it has been divided into simple, composite, and multivariate. Simple means further we cannot divide. Composite means now you can see your name. So your name can be further divided. How? First name, last name, and middle name. So then such type of things are called as a composite. Then what is multi-valued? There may be many values like color of a car. Car can be of different colors. So then with that type of attribute, we call it as a multi-valued. So then what are the same thing we have seen here? The example for entity type and the key attributes. So in your car or in your social security number, we have something called as a SSN. What is this SSN stands for? That SSN stands for social security number, where it will uniquely identify a particular person. So in the same way, how to identify a car? Car can be identified by vehicle identification number, or we may have a vehicle tag number or a license plate number. These are the ways where we can identify a car. So that's what the example here. Entity is a collection of cars, and we say which company is manufactured, whether the Tata is manufactured or Maruti people. Some companies have different companies, and putting all those together is called as an entity set. And to draw your diagram, so what are the things we are using? So entity, we are using a rectangle. So double rectangle we use for a weak entity. Relationship, to represent a relationship between two entities. Student has taken a course. So in between we want, then we use a relationship type as a rhombus. So to identify a relationship type, we use a double rhombus. For representing attributes, we use a oval. And to represent a key, primary key, oval with a underline. So then multi-valued attributes, two ovals. So then composite attributes, name and first name, last name, and middle name. So then derived, we give a dotted line. So then total participation, we give a double line. So then cardinality ratio, we say whether it is 1-to-1 relation, 1-to-many, many-to-one. So like that, then that is what is called as a cardinality ratio. Then again in that we give a constraint, whether it is a minimum cardinality or a maximum cardinality. So this is a summary of ER diagrams. Then how do we represent a ER diagram for a company? So employee is one entity, a department is another entity, project is another entity, dependent is another weak entity. So now employee is a strong entity. How do we say it is a strong? Because we have a primary key as a SSN. So social security number we have in a employee. So in that case, we call it as a strong entity. In the same way, department. Even in department also, we have a department name. Then that is what is called as a strong entity. Then project. So in the project, we have a project name, project number. So then in the same way, dependents. So dependence is a weak entity. So that's the reason we have represented it as a double square. So the employee, always whenever the employee is working, then only the dependent will come. If employee is not there, then the dependents will not come. That's the reason dependence table is a weak entity. And how it is identified? It is identified by a double rhombus. So then how employee works for which department? Now I am working for MCA department. So that's what here employee works for department. And I am doing some projects. That's what here controls the project. Then works on how many hours I'm working for BMSIT for MCA department from 8:30 to 4:30 we are working. So that is what works on. So like this we have so many things. Again in MCA department there is one HOD that is managed and which date they have started. So like that started. So that's what here this represent employee department project dependence. So then the relationship and relationship type. A relationship relates to or more distinct entities with a specific meaning. For example, employee. John Smith works on product X project, or employee Franklin Wong manages the research department. Relationship of the same type or grouped or typed in a relationship type. For example, the works on relationship type in which employees and projects participates on, or the manager's relationship type in which employees and departments participate. The degree of relationship type is the number of participating entity type both manage and works on binary relationship. So that's what here the relationship, you can say employee, how many employees in this example, you can see there are 7 employees and who is working for 3 departments. D1, D2 and D3 are 3 departments where they are working. So the same way here this relationship represents maybe 2 employees working for the same project. So that's about a relationship. And how do we represent a supervisor? Here you can see we know what is recursion. Recursion means function calling itself. In the same way in employee table also there may be HOD, there may be principal, but even HOD is also an employee and principal is also an employee, but he is supervising all the employees. That's the reason we have a supervision. So that is what one relationship where it has its own thing. So weak entity I just told where we does not have a key. Then what are the constraints and what is the cardinality ratio we give? Constraints means what? Restriction. What is the maximum cardinality? We may have a 1-to-1, 1-to-many, or many-to-1, or many-to-many. So then minimum cardinality, it can be 0 or 1 or more. So in this case, you can see many-to-1. So what is many-to-1? So now employee E1, E3 and E6, all these 3 employees are working for one department called as a D1. So that's what here many people are working for one department. That's the reason N-to-1. So many to many, you can see E2. E2 is an employee who is working for 2 projects. He is working for project P2, he is working for project P3. That's the reason many to many. Then recursive relation we have just seen about employee is his employee as well as he is a supervisor, or he is a HOD, or he is a principal. Then such type of things we are calling it as a recursive relation supervision. So then when do we say participation, total participation? So when to represent that we are using a double line, then that is what is called as a total participation. Then what is the attribute type? So we have a relationship type can have attributes. For example, hours per week or works on, its value for each relationship instance describes the number of hours per week that an employee works on the project. So then the attribute of the relationship type is hours of works on. So then how do we represent cardinality? The same thing what I have explained in the last slide. Again, it's here. We use a 1-to-1, 1-to-n, n-to-1 or m-to-n. So then how do we say alternative minimum and maximum? We specify 0, 1 or 1, 1, specifying that employee itself is managing, and department, in that particular department there will be one HOD. That's what department in manages. In this example, you can see what is minimum and maximum. 0 is minimum, 1 is maximum. So 1 and 1, that is what employee manages department. Employee works for department. So employee 0, 1, 1 department. So then company ER schema diagram using minimum and maximum notation. So then employee ER diagram for the company schema with all role names included and with structural constraints on relationship specified using a alternative notation, minimum and maximum. So relationship of higher degree, relationship type of degree 2 are called binary, relationship type of degree 3 are called ternary, and degree of n is also called as a n array. In general, we call it as a n array relationship is not equivalent to a binary relationship. So then what is data modeling concept? How do we represent a diagram? We use different models, different diagrams to represent. That's what here you can see. There are some companies who are manufactured different tools, and each tool will be used for a different functionality. So this is a summary of which company is manufactured, which tool, and what is the functionality of that. And lastly, how the bank database is working, the same way how you draw diagrams. And just I gave you all these for your assignment. I hope you have completed. So this is a completion of revision for your first unit. Answer your attendance. Asta? I'm just pasting the quiz link again. You can continue with the quiz link. The people who have not done, please complete it. Abhinav?
Present, ma'am.
Yesterday you were absent, sir. Aishwarya?
Yes.
Present, ma'am.
Amresh? Anu?
Present, ma'am.
Arbaz?
Yes, ma'am.
Arjun?
Present, ma'am.
Ashok?
Present, ma'am.
Benita?
Present, ma'am.
Bhargavi?
Present, ma'am.
Pavisha? Chaitra?
Present, ma'am. Present,
Ma'am, 13. Present, ma'am.
Devmalai?
ma'am.
Present, ma'am.
Yesterday you were absent, sir. Diksha?
Yes, yeah, ma'am.
Diksha?
Present, ma'am. Present,
Ma'am, Ambrish.
Deepika? ಯಾಕಪ್ಪ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಕರ್ದಾಗ
Ma'am, Ambrish present.
That's what I'm saying. When I called you, you didn't answer. Deepika LG, Deepika MB.
Present, ma'am.
Murli Krishna.
Present, ma'am.
Gangubai.
Present, ma'am.
Bujia.
Present, ma'am.
Harshit.
Present, ma'am.
Gundar.
Present, ma'am.
Kavya.
Present, ma'am.
Kishore.
Present, ma'am.
Lata.
Yes, ma'am.
Manisha.
Present, ma'am.
Manjunath.
Yes, ma'am.
Nayana.
Present, ma'am.
Last to the class absent, my dear. Nilanjan.
Yes, ma'am.
Nishant.
Present, ma'am.
Pavitra.
Present, ma'am.
Maithili.
Present, ma'am.
Priyanka.
Present,
Pavan.
Present, ma'am.
Akash.
Present, ma'am.
Rajeshwari.
Present, ma'am.
Rakesh. Ramya.
Present, ma'am.
Rashmi.
Present, ma'am.
Ravi. Rizwan.
Present, ma'am.
Vishal.
Present, ma'am.
Savita.
Yes, ma'am.
Shruti. Sneha.
Yes, ma'am.
2 classes you were absent, Sneha. Spurti.
Present, ma'am.
Srinidhi. Srinivas.
Present, ma'am.
Present, ma'am.
I'm Srinidhi present.
ಯಾಕಪ್ಪ ನೆನ್ನೆ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ?
Personal problem.
Okay. Sunil.
Present, ma'am.
Ma'am, Srinivas.
Ma'am, present.
Yeah, Mark Srinivas. Vaishnavi.
Ma'am, Sunil present.
Present, ma'am.
ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀನಪ್ಪ. ಗೊತ್ತಾಗತ್ತೆ ನಂಗೆ. I can identify your voices. Vinny.
Ma'am, Deepika LC present, ma'am. Ma'am, Bhavishya present, ma'am.
Ma'am, Amrish.
I have marked Amrish. How many
Hello,
times I have
ma'am.
told you? Yeah, who is that? Bhavisha.
Ma'am, Deepika LC, ma'am.
Marked Deepika. Rakesh. Shruti.
Present, ma'am.
Shruti.
Present, ma'am.
ಮತ್ತೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲಮ್ಮ. ವಿನ್ನಿ. Okay. So today, Wednesday, tomorrow, Thursday, you people have to.
Bhavishya present, ma'am.
Huh?
Bhavishya present.
Yeah,
ma'am.
marked Bhavisha. So today is Wednesday, tomorrow is your Thursday, and you have your DBMS lab in the morning. I'll be checking your second program. So you have to execute and show with the SQL software. Yes. So thank you, and we'll meet tomorrow in the lab session.